Pricing your home correctly has nothing to do with what you feel it's worth. It has everything to do with what the market says your home is worth. I'm Tom Worley. Welcome to Tom Talks, and today we're going to be covering how to strategically price your home. So let's dive in. The biggest pricing mistakes I see aren't financial, they're emotional. Here's a couple of things that people tend to take into account when they're pricing their home that the market isn't taking into account. Your memories inside of your home of watching your kids grow up and the things that you've done and the life events that have happened there, that doesn't equate to value. But your emotional attachment makes you think that your home is something special, and it is. But that's not going to add value to your home. The other big problem that we see right now is the online estimates. They are a great tool in the toolbox. The online apps and everything else that you are constantly searching for homes on, they are an excellent resource, but they are not the end-all be-all on your home. In fact, a lot of times they may be underestimating your home's value and giving you the wrong impression as to what your home's actually worth. It's why every time I'm having a conversation with sellers, I'm telling them, bring me in, let's get eyes on the property, and let's truly walk through, get a feel for the home, and price the home strategically in today's market to make sure that we can get you the top dollar possible. The other problem is all the apps that you're searching on to get your home's value and everything else, all those same apps are available to buyers. And what we've seen in today's market is so many more buyers are more educated than they've ever been. All of the resources out there for buyers are making buyers far more educated and far less likely to jump on a home that is overpriced. It's why pricing is the number one most important thing to make sure that we have a strategy in place. And that's what we're going to go through today, are what are those strategies that help us actually price that home so we can move it and achieve your real estate goals. The other problem is there's too much information out there that you're absorbing as a potential home seller, but not enough strategy as to what's actually working. Right? We can all search up what our homes are worth and we can look at all this stuff and we can walk around and try and compare it. But until you get somebody who's actually in the market, who's shopping with buyers, who are seeing the properties through the buyer's eyes on a regular basis and know what the buyers are looking for and know what they're paying for these homes, the truth is you can't give yourself a true unbiased pricing model of what your home is worth. You're too attached to it. So let's talk about a little bit about how I gauge the value of your home. If you want to know what your home's worth, stop looking at online estimates and look at what's actually sold in your area. We can't base our pricing on opinions. We have to base them on facts. Part of the reason that you bring in an advisor and an agent is to remove that emotional side of the home selling process and keep this about facts over feelings. So what we're going to look at is the last 3 to 4 months of closed homes similar to yours. So we're going to look at finishes. If you're in a condo building, we're going to look at what the way that the floors per floor is trading in your building, whether or not it has parking. We're going to look at the square footage, the views. What are we looking out outside the window? From the second that we walk into the building, what is that feel, that welcoming feel in either the lobby or the vestibule? What type of things can we do to change that feel and make it more appealing for the buyers? We're not going to be looking at what's currently active. What's currently active on the market is again, I go back to this all the time. I talk to my buyers and my sellers, and we say, what's active on the market is a great gauge and a tool to know what our competition is, but it's not necessarily going to tell us what the market value of your home is. We want to look at what's actually sold in the last 3 to 4 months to see where that market's moving, because our goal when we're pricing is to stay ahead of the market, not fall behind the market, and not try and push that market too much. Because again, back to that point about the educated buyers. The educated buyers are not seeing homes when they're overpriced. So we want to make sure that we're taking true data of market-ready, market-proven data on your home and not going based on what's currently out there only and not going on a feeling of what your home is worth. There is a feel gauge to it, but if your agent or your advisor, the person that you're interviewing with, the person sitting at your kitchen table giving you your advice, if they're not coming with hard facts and data to support the pricing models that they're giving, that should be an immediate red flag for you as to, are they truly gauging my home, or are they just trying to, what I like to refer to as, buy the listing? And when I say buy the listing, Anybody can come in and tell you your home is worth $2 million. And the truth is, as advisors, we make more money the more we sell your home for. That's the truth. I want to sell every home for $2 million. The market is not going to allow us to sell every home for $2 million. The market is going to dictate the pricing strategy on your place. And when we talk pricing strategy, there are three main strategies that will work to price your home correctly. And pricing your home is an invitation to the party. If the invitation's no good to the party, we're not going to get anybody there. That invitation, our job is to find the sweet spot to make sure that we are pricing it in a way that's getting as the right people through the door and capturing as many of the true buyer pool as we can actually get through the home. More eyes on the property equals more offers, more bites at the apple, so to speak, to make sure that we get your home sold for top dollar. So those three models that I use and that I've had success with, model number one is aspirational pricing. And what aspirational pricing is we take a look at the market and we say, let's push this thing 5-7% over where the market is telling us that your home is worth. And that's going to lead to a lot of negotiations. It's going to lead to offers that are probably closer to that market price. And this strategy is really reserved for super unique properties or some type of celebrity factor to the property. The next pricing strategy is going to be the market-based pricing. And we take a look at the market and what it's doing, and we say your home is worth this according to these stats in this current market. And what that's going to lead to is fair offers, fair market value offers that are going to be at a point where you're like, okay, I'm okay taking this. There's probably going to be some negotiation back and forth, and it's not necessarily going to move as quickly as possible, but it is going to get you those fair offers that there is going to be quite a bit of back and forth. The third one, and the one that I've had the most success with, is what I call event-based pricing. This is where we take a look at the market and we say, let's go a little bit below that market. Again, because this is about more eyeballs through your property, the more bites at the apple, so to speak, that get you to be able to control the terms. And that market-based pricing is exactly what it sounds like. The event-based pricing is exactly what it sounds like. What we're looking to do is drive people through the house, cause that event, and get that bidding war. That's also going to allow us to generate the best offer, not just the highest offer. Something that I think that agents fail to do a lot of the time is base their pricing strategy based on the goals of what our actual sellers need. Different sellers are going to need different things in different markets. Some sellers may need to sell quickly. They may need to get from under this because they're relocating. Some sellers may say, I need to sell for the most money possible because I'm already in contract and I need to recast this money into my next home. Some sellers may just want to put the home on the market and they say, I don't need to sell, but if I get this price, I'm open to selling the place. So it's important that when you're sitting down and we're having these conversations, that we build out a pricing strategy that's built around your actual strategic goals, not just this is the hard and fast rule of where we price. These three pricing strategies allow us to build out a pricing strategy that fits what you need, not necessarily what everybody else needs. A big myth with pricing models is, and I hear it all the time when I'm talking to my sellers, is the nervousness of, well, I don't want to underprice my home. I don't want to give it away. Neither do I. I don't want to underprice your home. I don't want to give your home away because, again, the higher your home sells for, the better off everybody in the transaction does, minus the buyer typically, right? But the better off that the agents do, the better off that you do, and the happier you are as a client. But here's the truth. It's impossible to underprice your home. You are always going to get what the market says your home is worth. It's a very fine line and very easy to overprice your home. And overpricing your home causes your home to sit longer, become stale, and costs you money in the end. Overpricing your home is going to cause you to leave money on the table. I promise you. I've seen it time and time again, because what happens is we overprice that home We toe that line, we go over the overpricing, and now we sit and we backtrack and we backtrack and we try and chase the market. And now buyers, again, they're so educated, they have so much information. Every home that sells in your neighborhood is so readily available to see the closing price that they're tracking that they're looking at it going, no, this home should be sold for this. So they're watching it, waiting for you to reduce, and that's what's going to get you those lowball offers. It's going to cause frustration for you. It's going to cause frustration for me as your agent, and it's the last thing anybody wants to do. So the truth is, underpricing your home is impossible. Overpricing it is going to cost you money. You're always going to get what the market says that your home is worth. Days on market equals money lost every single time. The longer your home sits, the less leverage that you get and the weaker your position as a seller becomes. Buyers will wait. I promise you, buyers will be patient, especially in today's market. They will be patient for the right home at the right price that they need. And as we chase those reductions and chase that market backwards, we are going to leave money on the table, which again, nobody wants to do. As the large majority of agents typically do, we depend on doing such a good job for you as the seller that you're going to refer us, all of your neighbors, friends, family, everything else. That trust that you're putting in at least me is not something that I take lightly. So it's in my best interest to do as good a job as possible for you, but also to make sure that I'm telling you what you want, what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Telling you what you need to hear can sometimes be painful, but you need to hear it. You need that transparency, and that relationship needs to be built on that level of trust, on results that can actually be delivered. I don't want to go in there and buy that listing from you. Anybody can promise you the world. I can't tell you how many times I've worked with sellers in the past who I am their second or third agent, because the agents prior to me promised the world and completely underdelivered. They gave unrealistic pricing models that the home sat. Now that seller had carrying costs for all that time. Their real estate goals got delayed, and the agent used that home to just generate buyer leads, right? So they probably got 3 or 4 deals out of that home sitting. That was not in the best interest of the seller. So what you get when you work with a strong advisor, a strong agent, is somebody who's giving you realistic metrics that can be delivered on to make sure that you get across the finish line to achieve your own personal goals, things that you're not going to lose advantage, things that when we build out the strategy based on your goals, we're going to come up with timelines that need to be focused on. We're going to come up with, what do you need to control? Is the closing timeline important to you? Is the inspection clauses important to you? Do you want the buyer to cover the CO costs? Right? These are all conversations that are going to happen early on in the process before we even come up with a price, so that our pricing strategy is built around those metrics and not a feeling and not an unrealistic expectation in what it's going to look like to sell your home. Here's the truth. The goal isn't to test the market. What you need to do is be listening to the market. And any agent who tells you otherwise is doing you a disadvantage in the market. If you price it right from day one, you're going to get the most return for your money. If you fail to price it right from day one, I promise you, you're going to cost yourself money, leaving it on the table. So don't test the market, listen to the market, listen to the facts. We need to be operating from a position of facts over feelings. This is a huge financial decision, so let's make sure that we are treating it as such, getting the right advice and guidance to make sure that we are accomplishing selling your most expensive asset for as much money as possible and putting as much money in your pocket as we can. If we chase the market, you're going to regret it. So, in closing here, pricing strategy needs to happen long before the listing hits. And it starts with conversations at the kitchen table and deep conversations about knowing what your goals are as a seller and how I can help you get there. and then we can build our pricing strategy around that. So follow along. If you find this stuff useful, please hit that subscribe button. Make sure to listen for the next episode. The next episode, we're going to cover timelines and how long it really takes to sell your home. Again, everything here is going to be about realistic, deliverable results, not promising the world and having you be disappointed with the results. So thanks for coming to my Tom Talk, and make sure to send this to a friend that you think needs to see it.